Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down the powerful story behind a product called the Aqua Tower, and we're using its own presentation as our roadmap. So, the whole thing kicks off with this massive, almost magical question. It's a classic hook, right? It's designed to just grab you and make you think, wait, is that even possible? And of course, the presentation claims that yes, it is possible. So let's get into it. We're going to break down exactly how they build their case piece by piece. All right, first up, every persuasive pitch starts with a hook, right? And this one is no different. It kicks off with a really extraordinary promise that's just meant to grab your full attention right from the get-go. I mean, just look at this opening line. It is pure drama. They're not just saying, hey, here's a useful product. No, they're positioning this as a world-changing event. That just immediately raises the stakes to a whole new level. And then, bam, right after that huge promise, you get this. A really big, really specific number. This is a classic technique. You've probably seen it before. It's called social proof. It's all about building instant credibility and, creating that fear of missing out. Okay, so then the pitch just doubles down with these core promises. And notice the mix they've got here. You've got security, a home oasis, you've got health, endless fresh water, financial savings, of course. But the one that really jumps out, secret military technology. That just adds this whole layer of exclusivity and power, doesn't it? All right, so now the narrative takes a turn. We've had the big promises, and now it introduces a character you can relate to, who's facing this just gut-wrenching crisis. This is where the story really gets personal. So we meet this guy, Richard Wilson, and look at the details here. His age, his job as a third-generation farmer, all of it is designed to make him feel like a real person, someone you can connect with. So you're not just hearing about some abstract problem, you're meeting the person who's actually living it. And just look at how fast his crisis escalates here. It goes from a drought to a dry well, and then it just explodes into family violence over water. This super fast progression, well, it's designed to create a sense of anxiety and honestly desperation in you, the viewer. And then, this. This is the emotional gut punch. This one single question from a child, is Grandpa going to die? It just boils down the entire crisis into one heartbreaking moment. It's such a powerful way to make you feel just how severe this problem really is. So, right after that deeply personal, emotional moment, the narrative does something really clever. It zooms way out. It pivots from one family's pain to a global threat. And that makes the problem feel universal, like it's relevant to absolutely everyone watching. And how do they make that leap from personal to global? Well, they use what's called an appeal to authority. By name-dropping huge names like NASA and top universities, it's basically borrowing their credibility to make this threat feel scientifically proven and incredibly urgent. Then it gets super specific. It starts listing well-known reservoirs that are in danger, Lake Mead, Lake Powell. By using these really familiar examples, the whole abstract idea of a drought suddenly becomes this tangible, close-to-home threat for millions of people. And get this, they even give the catastrophe a name. Dead pool status. When you define a scary-sounding technical term like that, it just makes the threat feel way more concrete and scientific. It really amps up that sense of impending doom. Okay, so after building up this massive, absolutely terrifying problem, the narrative pivots again. Now it's time to reveal the secret solution. And it's one that feels powerful, exclusive, and of course, perfectly timed. The solution is framed as military grade, right? They say it's used by forces from the US, Israel, and India, and that association is totally strategic. It's meant to imply that this technology is tough, it's reliable, and it's super effective, even in the harshest conditions you can imagine, like a desert. And here's how they make this secret technology seem, simple. It's broken down into just 4 easy steps. You suck in air, you cool it down, you purify it, and boom, you're generating water. This makes a really complex process feel totally accessible. It kind of demystifies the magic behind it.
Now, this is a brilliant us versus them setup. On one side, you've got these so-called greedy corporations selling devices for a small fortune. But on the other side, you have the empowered individual with an affordable, do-it-yourself solution. This frames the whole purchase as almost an act of rebellion.
And finally, this is where the pitch brings it all home. Let's take a look at how the crisis, all that fear, and the secret solution get wrapped up into the final offer, the call to action. So the offer isn't just, a set of plans. It's presented as a complete, foolproof package. You get video guides, illustrated instructions, even unlimited support. That's all about removing any possible friction or doubt you might have about building this thing yourself. And then there's the price, $39.69. This is such a classic marketing tactic. Using a really specific, non-round number like this makes the price feel more deliberate, less arbitrary. It's like it was calculated down to the very last cent just to give you maximum value. And this right here, this illustrates a key closing technique, risk reversal. By offering a 60-day, no questions asked money-back guarantee, the seller is basically removing all the financial risk from you, the buyer. And that makes it so much easier to just go ahead and click that buy button. So let's just recap the formula we've seen here. You start with a personal, really emotional story. Then you scale it way up into a terrifying global crisis. And then finally, you offer a secret, affordable solution that empowers the individual. It is an incredibly effective, persuasive structure. And all this leaves us with a really interesting question, doesn't it? How often do powerful stories just like this one shape our perception of a problem and its one and only available solution? Understanding this kind of formula is a pretty key skill for navigating all the information we consume every single day.